بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. Well, I live in Lahore. It's a beautiful city, the capital of Punjab. Some of you are Punjabis, so I tell you this thing just to instigate envy among you. I used to be called Shaykh Umar Vadillo. I'm now known as the husband of Humaira Shahid. And I'm very proud to have met this lady who has declared war on riba in Pakistan. She has put bankers in jail. And that is extraordinary, Humaira. They can be put in jail, not only in Iceland, where they show us they are not the power of the earth, but the people can challenge them. But also in Pakistan. And Pakistan is the place, I believe, where we can turn the things round. It's an extraordinary place, Pakistan. Chaos is a very good way of defining the situation today. They have no electricity. We have the cuts of electricity. It comes on and off. Congo has electricity, but not Pakistan. But chaos is good for revolution. When everything is orderly, it's very difficult to change things. Try to go to Dubai and tell the Arabs that the riba is haram. I tried. But since I first did, and now they have organized 3 or 4 World Bank events, IMF loves to be in Dubai, and they have embraced the banking system so much so that they have the largest national debt in the world, 400%. Greece only has 150% national debt in relation to the GDP. They love banking so much they are bankrupt by it. Let them die. For this is only the misery. It has been built by the misery incurred to the Pakistani workers who, under dreadful conditions, have built the largest tower in the world. Let them drown in the river. I have come here to tell you why I went to Pakistan. I've gone to Pakistan with the intention of declaring the Central Bank of Pakistan the haram State Bank of Pakistan, to abolish the central bank, introduce gold and silver currency, and eliminate the constitution that is the curse of all the Muslim nations, including Pakistan. So let me start from here. Riba is not an ordinary crime. It's the most important crime. It's the only matter on which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has declared war upon. Harb min Allahi wa Rasuli. Harb. Not jihad. Jihad had rules. Harb has no rules. We must fight it with every conceivable way and by every means at our hands. But when Allah declares war on something, who do you think is going to win? To fight the riba is to fight a war that we have already won. Not in the future, but is already won since the day Allah declared war on riba. What we are facing when we speak about the riba and the banks, the World Bank, the IMF, and the entire Wall Street with all their banks, what you are facing is not the power of the earth. You are facing a corpse, a dead system, a ruin that doesn't hold itself except by ignorance. The symbol of this extraordinary power with which they have managed to destroy the caliphate, subdue all the Muslim lands, the symbol of this is the US dollar. This is the symbol of their power. Allah has given us Obama to make the things more clear. This wonderful gentleman has printed more dollars than any other president in the history of the United States. It is conservatively estimated that 23 trillion US dollars have been created by pressing a button. That's why they don't need to conquer Pakistan. They can buy it. With 23 trillion, they can buy the GDP of Pakistan for the next 25 years. They give us this, and we give them oil, aluminium, gas, everything they want. You don't need to be an economic genius to figure out that in these circumstances, there is a winner and there is a loser. Give us the power to create the currency of the world, and we will show how Pakistan becomes the wealthiest nation on earth. But this is not bound to happen, not by their own will. The will must come from us. Their strength is their weakness. If we look at this and we say this is the money of the world, then this is the most powerful nation in the history of mankind. But if we say this is a piece of paper, a worthless piece of paper, then this is the biggest indebted nation on earth. Take this away from them, and away goes all their military bases. And away it goes, this desire to somehow bomb democracy into the rest of the world. The irony of the times is that there are more people in the United States who say the US dollar is a fraud than in Saudi Arabia or Pakistan. There are people in the United States who say, but don't you see, this is a fraud. They have raised to prominence, and among the people who proclaim that the US dollar is a fraud to the world, among them you have senators, Ron Paul, Reid, Ron Paul, and what he says about the Federal Reserve Bank. He's calling for the abolition of the Federal Reserve Bank. Nobody's calling for the abolition of the State Bank of Pakistan. Well, I am. And I hope all of you too. First of all, let's call the things by their name. And from now on, it's called the Haram State Bank of Pakistan. So we are clear. You know what they do with tobacco? They write, this is bad for your health. So all the banks should have the word haram before it, like the pork. So we are clear. And we start from the main one, the State Bank of Pakistan. Will I ever get a nationality in Pakistan? Saying these wonderful things?
Well, the riba judgment declares State Bank as haram. So,
and there you are.
Going that. The judgment clearly says that.
You see, Pakistan, you all have an opinion of Pakistan. Not a very good one. But Pakistan is amazing. With all the contradictions, you find that one military dictator in 1977 introduced one article in the Constitution of Pakistan that says the state is obliged to eliminate riba. It's the only constitution in the world that says you have to eliminate riba. So we can legally, with the constitution in the hand, sue the Central Bank of Pakistan. You know who is the first person in the history of Pakistan to sue the Central Bank of Pakistan? You know who is that person? Humaira Shahid. And the petition has been placed in the High Court of Punjab to declare the Central Bank of Pakistan against the Constitution. We can do that only in Pakistan. So it's not so bad after all. Pakistan is in the hands of a small elite. The famous 28 families, you must have heard of them. I cannot tell you the names. Humaira could tell you probably 10 or 12 of them. Half of them, they don't believe in Islam openly. They control the banking system. This is their power. You know what is this, right? This beautiful currency has 20% inflation. And that makes Pakistan the ideal place for a good monetary revolution. Because you don't need to argue whether the paper money in Pakistan is worthless. Everybody knows. The problem is that there is no alternative. No alternative. Well, not so. Not anymore. This is a 10 dinar coin. It's 10 times the weight of the dinar. And this is a 10 dirham coin, 10 times the weight of the dirham. The currency in Islam is a commodity. So its value depends on the weight. 1 dirham, 2 dirham. 1 dirham is 2.975, 3 grams. 2 is 6, and so on. I challenge you to come with me to the streets of Lahore, and we will point the people at random, and we will tell them, if you had to choose, what would you prefer? This or this? And I can guarantee you that 99% of the people will choose this. 99% of the men, 100% of the women. women have the ability to see what men, they get lost. I promise to pay you. And we get lost in that. The woman said, where is that? Let me touch it. The fact, the people say, but where is all the gold? The Jews own all the gold. That's not true. America owns all the gold. No. Do you know where the largest stock of gold in the world is? In Pakistan, near. In India. In India and Pakistan, which is the same nation. Partition is only chapter 1. We are coming back. We, in the subcontinent, we hold the largest stock of gold in the world. But they are trying to stop it. So IMF recently has introduced a tax of 20% on gold. Part of the attempt to bring the price of gold down, it was going high, too high, putting in danger the supremacy of the magical US dollar. So this tax on gold in India has prevented from people purchasing gold the way they used to. This tax of gold has been introduced in Pakistan too, by the IMF, a wonderful religious group. On the one hand, this is the problem of Pakistan. 20% inflation means that the poor, particularly the poor, are being taxed 20% of their income every year, when in fact they cannot afford it in the first place. Inflation is the most evil of all taxes that you can possibly create, because it taxes the poor more than the rich. And this is quite ironical at first, because you would imagine that if the tax, inflation affects everybody who has money, right? So the person who has more money will pay more, except for one fundamental element, is that inflation is a subsidy to the people who borrow. Only when you borrow, when you owe money, inflation works in your favor, because you have to pay less. If you borrow 1 million rupees with a 20% inflation, even if you have to pay 20% interest, you will find yourself paying exactly the same amount of value as you borrowed in the first place. But who borrows? The rich. Where is the majority of the money borrowed? In the handful of very few. So, the irony of this is that the inflation of the many subsidizes the wealth of the few. How is the rupee created? Many of you are aware. If I say fractional reserve banking, I think many of you understand. But there are maybe others who don't. So let me explain it briefly. Fractional reserve banking is the foundation of banking itself. It's the principle by which a bank can lend money that they don't have. They lend money that they cannot have, they don't have. How? By creating substitutes of this money in the form of checks, in the form of transfers, in general, in the form of electronic money. This is reflected in the statistics of the nation as the money supply. Money supply 1, money supply 2, money supply 3. Money supply 1 is the amount of paper that the central bank of Pakistan produces a year. Paper and coins. This is money supply 1. Money supply 3 is the total amount of rupees in circulation in Pakistan, including the electronic rupees, the bank accounts, the money that is stored in computers. The majority of rupees in circulation exist in electronic form, just like in Britain. Only 2.5% of the total amount of sterling, of pounds in circulation, exists in the form of paper. 97.5% of the British currency is electronic. It has been created by commercial banks. And here's the moral part of this issue. Inflation is not only an immoral matter, but it's a private tax, not incurred by the government, but incurred by private institutions. When they create more money, when they lend more money, when they increase the supply of money, they are taxing all of us. Right now, the pounds that you have in your pocket, they are losing value. Since I started this talk, up until now, you have been taxed. A hidden hand is stealing from your pocket right now. You cannot see it, but it's there, stealing right now. This hidden hand doesn't sleep. You got to sleep tonight, and it will continue stealing from you. Inflation is theft. Inflation, chori hai. Chori hai. Are we clear with chori hai, right? Humaira, what does it mean, chori hai? For those of you who do not understand the language of Pakistan.
Inflation is theft.
Inflation is theft. This is the beginning of your Urdu, those who do not speak Urdu. The Central Bank of Pakistan initiated a whole process that has turned Pakistan on its knees. In the year 1970, the first survey of bank accounts was made in Pakistan. They discovered that 80% of all bank deposits were in the hands of 1,500 companies. And these 1,500 companies were owned by 28 families. 80% of the money was in the hands of these people. Don't you see? Inflation is like a vacuum cleaner on the poor and pushing the money into this elite who then own the steel mills, the sugar mills, the infrastructure, the colonies, everything that you can name. And then you still wonder, why are we so poor? When Allah has said, I have declared war on riba, Pakistan, what is happening in Pakistan is the proof of it. But don't despair. It's better in Pakistan, where we can see it clearly, than in the streets of England, where you still think capitalism is good for you. Wait, and you will see this island rotting because of the river. We are better off in Pakistan. But the opportunity is in Pakistan. Because the illness is more clear. Because the people cannot suffer more. Because the chaos is hardly imaginable to get any worse. Something can be done there to liberate the world. Riba is the curse of mankind. Riba, or so-called capitalism, which is the religion of riba. There's no other religion, there is only capitalism. This religion has taken over the world. It is a religion. It is a religion because its dogmas cannot be questioned. You can question Allah. You can say, Allah, astaghfirullah, is an elephant, like the Hindus do. You can say there are 3 of them, like the Catholics do. You can say it doesn't exist. But you are not allowed to say, I don't believe in mortgage. You're not allowed to go to the bank manager and say to him, I'm sorry, this month I'm not going to pay the rate because I have become an agnostic of riba. I'm completely agnostic of your system, mathematical system. I don't believe in it. I will not pay. Because you will go to jail. You cannot question this. They promised to pay 1,000 rupees. Do you know what a rupee is? This is a rupee. It's a silver coin. It's a Mughal coin. This is a rupee. When these gangsters promise to pay you 1,000 rupees, you should, with all your rights, go to them and say, pay me 1,000 rupees. The problem is, one silver coin, which is approximately about
1,100 rupees.
this is a little bit more than our dinar, dirham.
I think it's around 1,100 rupees. Close to 1,000 rupees.
So obviously, if this is more valuable than this, they're not going to pay you 1,000 of these. But it's not that they are not going to pay you. You could go, of course, to the central bank and say, please cash, give me 1,000 rupees. They will look at you like they look at somebody who has drunk. If you insist, they will go to some psychiatry hospital to take care of you. Because this is the kind of thing that you cannot ask. You have to believe. This is a dogma. Never in the history of the Haram State Bank of Pakistan there was the intention of paying back what they promised to pay. So this is all good. We are talking about liars who have robbed the people, who are starving the nation. Do you think we should be scared of them? Is this their power? They have nothing. It's a ruin. Riba has no power. There is only one power in the world. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Not la hawla wa la quwwata illa United States. And not la hawla wa la quwwata illa dollar either. But la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. The power of Allah is absolute. Mankind cannot compete with Allah. If the entire world says riba is halal, it doesn't change anything. If all the constitutions in the world says riba is halal, it doesn't change anything. If all the Islamic bankers in the world say riba is halal, it doesn't change anything. Allah reigns supreme, with no companion. It's only us who have the virtue, the gift of knowing about him, and we can decide to follow him. And if riba is haram, this is our banner with which we can free the world. I want to tell you that Pakistan is the place where we can do things, but I am in Britain among you to tell you, don't ignore Pakistan. We need Pakistan. The future of us as a community in Britain is either to liberate this continent or to sink with it. There are things we can do in Britain, and we have achieved something extraordinary. Here we are, in a Muslim college in the middle of London. But there are things we cannot do here. We need a Muslim country. And there are many Muslim countries. Was it why Pakistan? Well, I don't know all the Muslim countries, but I can guarantee you it will not happen in Saudi Arabia. It will not happen in the Gulf. It may happen in Indonesia, Malaysia and Indonesia. This is where the gold dinar has started. We have 10,000 shops there where you can use the gold dinar, including the British silver dirham. I've been only 1 year in Pakistan. I'm by no means an authority in Pakistan, but I can tell you what I have seen there is a place where something can happen. First of all, because Islam is not controlled by the state. I was in Malaysia. The Prime Minister of Malaysia said, the Muslim nation should have a gold dinar, one Islamic trade bloc with a single currency, no forex. Dinar. Why? To trade between Malaysians and Pakistanis, we have to go ringgit, US dollar, rupee. Can you explain what is the magical intervention of the US dollar in this transaction? Every time you want to send money to Pakistan, don't you know it has to be routed through New York? Have you not done it? Not anymore. Because gold is universal. It's the same in Pakistan as it is in Malaysia, as it is in the North Pole. It's a piece of gold. No claim other than itself, like a kilo of potatoes. It doesn't need authority or endorsement. It speaks by itself. When I pay you with this, there is no third party. I buy your tie, I give you this. Here it is. It's a piece of gold. Dinar. End of forex. End of all the forex. This criminal market of 5 trillion US dollars every day. When these people make money, what do they contribute to the world? They are parasites. And you have felt that way every time you have exchanged money with these money changers. Well, we have in our hands, in our deen, in our religion, the end of all this. We can strike it out. It was all in Islam. Our old religion. We have all there. The answers are there. They always were there. Mahathir spoke about the gold dinar. Why there is no gold dinar established in Malaysia? Because the Central Bank of Malaysia proved to be more powerful than the Prime Minister. I was there. I witnessed all the events. I was the person who told Dr. Mahathir about the gold dinar. He made a mistake there. He thought the coming of the gold dinar will happen from the top. So he went to the OIC. The OIC, as you know, is the most inept organization in the history of mankind. If they cannot agree to the question of Palestine, how can they agree to something as complex as the harakiri of the entire financial system, which represents their own governing institutions? It's not the place. The Islamic Development Bank is not Islamic, it's not development, it's nothing at all. It's a bank, indeed, but it doesn't represent us. Ironically, the currency of the Islamic Development Bank is called the Islamic gold dinar. No, the Islamic dinar, not gold. The Islamic dinar. But the definition of the Islamic dinar of the Islamic Development Bank is one SDR, special drawing rights, the currency created by the IMF in order to prevent gold from becoming a challenge to the US dollar. That's the Islamic Development Bank for you, serving a plate. This is what they understand by Islamic dinar. One SDR. When the idea of the gold dinar presented by Mahathir came to the IDB, I was there. I was invited as the world expert on the gold dinar. The matter did not even enter into debate. It was immediately rejected. They had no intention of entertaining this idea. And the chairman of this institution stopped the debate. 2 days gathering, it was finished in one, and they sent us all from Jeddah to Mecca to do Umrah. Why to debate anymore? Just go and entertain yourselves. The gold dinar will not happen from the top down. There is only one way with the gold dinar. It's from the bottom up. It's the people that it will change. And this is not just because I believe we have the capacity and the benefit. We are the beneficiaries of the system. But for something even more profound, something you should know. And before you leave here, you should know the answer to this question. What is the position of Islam regarding money? Some people will say, Islam says nothing about this issue. Not true. Islam speaks about every aspect of life. How could it not speak about money? What is the position of Islam regarding money? Some people will say, we defend the gold dinar and silver dirham. No, that's not the position of Islam. Indeed, the dinar and the dirham is mentioned in Quran. Indeed, the dinar and the dirham is the Sharia coins, as Ibn Khaldun calls them, necessary to pay zakat. Indeed, the dinar and the dirham has been the currency of Islam for 1,400 years. And yet, the position of Islam regarding money is not that the currency is the dinar and the dirham. The position of Islam regarding money is freedom. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Tijaratun a'an taradim minkum. Trade with mutual consent. There is no exception. He doesn't say trade with mutual consent except with money. There's no accept anything. Money is part of trading. Our first community in Medina, they used dinar and dirham and dates and salt and barley and anything they want. The currency of the Tuareg had been for hundreds of years coins of salt. It's perfectly halal. Because the position of Islam regarding money is freedom. There is no freedom in this. This has value because there is a law that says if you are Pakistani, tough luck. You have to use this. And the euro has value. This monopoly money is beautiful, colored money called the euro. That doesn't anymore says, I promise to pay you euros. You see, the British pound, they still say, there's some pounds here somewhere. No, I don't. But it says, I promise to pay the amount of 20 pounds, right? The Queen of England, no, the Bank of England, I promise, I can't read that. I promise to pay?
I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of £20.
Yep. You look at the euro, it doesn't even say that, it says 20. 10, 5. The people are so dumb that they don't even need to tell them, I promise to pay anything. Like my sheikhs used to say, freedom. I think you were asking about freedom. Freedom. If the people of Britain are told that within the next 5 years you are going to get involved in 2 wars and I'm going to increase your VAT by another 5 or 10%, nothing will happen. If tomorrow you raise up and your VAT is 33%, nothing will happen. Maybe a little bit of protest and website, and maybe some people gather in Trafalgar Square, just some banners. What is the freedom? We need to liberate them. The curse of this continent, the kufur, the sign of kufur of Europe is riba. I'm a European. I'm a Basque. I was the first citizen of Vitoria, the capital of the Basque people, to enter into Islam. The Europeans will enter into Islam. I am the sign of it. And so is this gentleman. We will embrace Islam. But when Islam speaks a voice about what matters, we must stop defending ourselves, having to all the time say what we are not. We are not terrorists. We are not this, we are not the other. Why don't we define ourselves for who we are? When the house is in fire, you don't start mending the windows. The fire is a riba. The big issue is a riba. We have to be the people who frees the world from riba, because there is nobody else. The islanders can shake off from riba, but they don't have the solution. They will go back to the debt they had before. There are many people in the West saying the banking system is evil, but they don't have the answer. They know some of what is wrong, but they have no idea what is right. Our asset is that we have the answer of what is right. We can lead them out of this mess. But we have to stand differently before them. It cannot be that every time you speak about Islam, the issue must be the scarf and the hijab. They have reduced Islam to a puritanical religion with a personal morality at its front, as if all we care about is how women get dressed. Leave the woman alone and fight riba. That will be a good motto for the Taliban. We are in Peshawar. I've been 3 times in Peshawar, and we are this close to mint the dinar and the dirham of KPK. I guarantee you that if we manage to get the coin in Peshawar, we will get the gold dinar in the entire Pakistan. I have spoken with Imran Khan. You know, KPK is under the hands of the opposition government. Imran Khan is a wonderful celebrity. He's not a leader. But he's our only hope. While he is in charge of KPK, we want to convince them to introduce this currency in parallel to the rupee. Let the people choose. But if they let us do that, if we let us go to the street, I can guarantee you our currency will spread like wildfire. We are that close. So suddenly Pakistan and all their defects work in our favor. What we want is to link the payment, the introduction of the gold dinar, to the payment of zakat. Why? Because it's part of Islamic law. You cannot pay zakat with dine. Dine and ayn. Dine means debt, liability, promissory note. Ayn means tangible, commodity, merchandise, real. You can only pay zakat with ayn. You cannot pay zakat with this, even if this was a value in silver. Even if you could go to the central bank, the Haram State Bank of Pakistan, and you could get the silver, even then, you will not be able to pay zakat with this. You have to pay it in real silver. Again, Islamic law works in our favor. If we make a fatwa saying zakat must be paid in dinar and dirham, is checkmate. Checkmate. Because the introduction of dinar and dirham through zakat will guarantee the success of the currency in Pakistan. We are not that far. In Malaysia, I was capable of convincing the government of Kelantan. This coin is minted by the government of Kelantan. Kelantan is the northeastern province in Malaysia, one of the states, 11 states. And I managed to get the government to agree to mint the coin. But I could not get the muftis to give me a fatwa regarding the gold dinar and zakat. The reason is Islam in Malaysia is under the pay of the state. All the muftis, they are employees of the government. I could privately get them to agree, like the mufti of Selangor, the largest state in Malaysia. He understood. He wanted to do it. And he told me, but I can't. I cannot give you the fatwa you want. Because I cannot give fatwas. The fatwas are given by the Council of Muftis. I'm one of 12. And this organization will not do such thing. The Mufti of Kelantan gave a speech the same day we launched the gold dinar, practically saying the gold dinar is haram. He didn't say that, but he almost did. That's the official state. This is the official Islam. Nothing will happen with them. But in Pakistan, we have more than 50 muftis ready to give us fatwa on this. Because Islam is different in Pakistan. There are many independent madrasas and waqafs and foundations. In the chaos of Pakistan, we have free people who can speak, who do not depend on the payment of the salaries by the government. The state of Pakistan doesn't control Pakistan. And this is, again, our asset. Why do we need a fatwa? Because we need to protect the gold dinar against taxation. You can either simply prevent the gold dinar from being minted, or you can just tax it. If the gold dinar has a 20% tax, we don't stand a chance to become the currency, to replace the currency. The fatwa declaring the gold dinar Sharia currency and part of the payment of zakat, part of the religion of Islam, will make it impossible for the government to tax it. So we need both. We need a government, a local government, the government of Sialkot, if there was any, because there's no local government in Pakistan. But the government of a province is enough. The federal government will be more difficult because they have to preserve the central bank. But maybe we can do it in KPK. Homeira, what do you think? What do you think our chances are?
Well, I think if the KPK government is able to deal with the security issues of Taliban, then gold dinar is going to be one of the priorities. So we stand a good chance.
What is your honest opinion about how we did the bureaucrats? We met with the bureaucracy in KPK. What do you think? Do you think they were with the idea of the gold dinar?
Well, they all came back to me and they all wanted to help us out within the positions that they had. And even, when they were, shuffled around, the bureaucracy goes through a lot of shuffling. They still called me. They says, the reason is that they've not gone beyond that is because of the lack of political will. We need PTI to step up and declare a policy on that, or declare that they want to do with the gold dinar. But the bureaucracy, I'm talking about the finance secretary and the zakat and ushr secretary, they want it to happen. They're finding us a way to do it. They're even recommending us what legal changes we need to go through, what legislative changes should be. And I was surprised by it, because comparing it to the bureaucracy in Punjab, they were like completely different. They were so motivated.
The Pathans are wild. They are crazy enough to accept the gold dinar. And there must be some Pathans among here, no? Among you?
Yeah, there are some honorable gentlemen there.
You see, the Basques in Spain, we are like the Pathans in Pakistan. There's something wild about them. They love the gold dinar. The support has been overwhelming. The politicians, on the other hand, these poor fellows, they have so many things to defend. They have made such a lie. You see, the problem with a lie is that you have to support it with more lies. And these lies have to be supported with more lies. And this lie has become a monumental lie. These politicians have lived sitting down in these lies. They will find it very difficult to suddenly say, this thing was a lie. This is the problem with Jamaat al-Islamiyah. The Jamaat al-Islamiyah, they are with us. They want the gold dinar. The problem is they have invested the whole reputation in Islamic banking, which is the biggest fraud in the history of Islam. So we have to tell them, join the golden era and don't feel guilty. We are not here to judge you. We are here to change. And the Minister of Finance of KPK is from Jamaat al-Islamiyah, and he is with us. How can the Muslims of Britain participate in this? Well, the hard reality, in my view, is the only justification for the presence of a minority Islam in Western Europe is that we participate in the transformation of Europe. And I believe, and I'm a European, that if we don't do that, we will be kicked out of this continent. I believe that either we participate in the revolution of Europe, and there is the meaning of that is the bringing back, is to give Islam to the people, or we will not be able to survive here. And that is in the context of this, that we need Pakistan. Because we cannot say to the people in the streets, Islam is a wall without a river. Because they will tell us in which Muslim country this thing is happening. And like I have to look down and I have to say, well, not yet. Then they said to me, okay, fix your home and then come and tell us. We have to fix our home. We need Pakistan. The question is, we have to all go to Pakistan. That's not the issue. We have an asset being here. We have a strength being here. But we can help. We can work to change the situation over there. The key of this is not the golden era. The golden era is part of this. The key of this is another word that you have to go out living this morning or this afternoon knowing, mu'amalat. There is no Islamic economics. There is mu'amalat. Mu'amalat is the model, the social model of Islam. Because we did have a social model before the British came. Because we did have an economy before they came. Because we did know what trading was before they came. Because we have a model before capitalism even existed as a word. We have a model. The gold dinar is part of this model. Our currency is not this. Our currency is real, based on freedom, not in the gold dinar. Don't go out living this place saying we defend the gold dinar. We defend freedom. And marketplaces, the most important institution of mu'amalat is not the gold dinar. The most important institution of mu'amalat is the souk. In Islam, the marketplaces are public institutions. The public marketplace, not Tesco, not Asda, not Sainsbury. There is no Islamic Tesco, and there is no Islamic Sainsbury. There is an Islamic souk. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the mosque has the same rules as the masjid, as the market. The masjid and the market have the same rules. No fees, no membership, not ownership of the land. You cannot go to the mosque and say, This is Omar's place. I'm coming for Asar. Don't touch. The same thing in the marketplace. You cannot own the marketplace. It's free to the people. We did not invent the public marketplace. The Greeks before us, they had the agora. And the Romans had the forum. We had the souk. We perfected the laws of the marketplace. We elevated to law what it was custom for other people. Every city in Europe was born with a public marketplace. These supermarkets are bitter to the European tradition. Are new, and they are a disaster. I lived in Inverness for 5 years, and I witnessed the arrival of the great Tesco to town. And in the 5 years, we saw the Tesco coming in. We saw the destruction of all the shops in the center of town. There are now studies in the United States, academic studies that prove that every time you open a Walmart in a community in the United States, within 5 years, the economic status of the people goes down. Because monopolies do not create prosperity. Trade creates prosperity. The marketplace is a foundational part of our understanding of prosperity. حَلَلَهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَمُ الرِّبَى. Allah has placed trading is halal, riba is haram. He has put trading and usury like the positive and the negative, as if to cure ourselves from the illness, what we need is to promote health, and that is trading. The institution of trading is the marketplace. Britain is choking with these stores. We once upon a time, as a community, we own the corner stores. The corner stores were owned by Pakistanis, by us. We're out. Now what you have in place is Texco Express, or however it's called. The marketplace is the symbol of how Islam will colonize Europe. I presented a paper to Dr. Mahathir called The Colonization of Europe. It never reached him. But the idea was quite romantic. How to colonize the continent of Europe by the means in which colonization has always been done, trading. Create open marketplaces in Europe for our products. And this is one of the ways in which we can contribute to Pakistan. To create public marketplaces in Britain. Creating jobs for the British. This is how we will bring them to the deen. Creating jobs that they cannot generate anymore. If we try to get a job for ourselves, we will fail. If we try to create jobs for the thousands who are unemployed, we will succeed. It's all in our hands. Not because we are more clever or more powerful. My hands are as big as yours. But I believe, and you believe, that although we cannot do it, Allah can. And Allah is with us. And Allah has declared war on this system. And this system is already defeated. Let's fight the battle that with all certainty we can win. The most decisive of all battles For if we become the generation that can free this world from the banks, we would have changed the world. And for that we need a location. And some of this can be done in Pakistan and the other half in Bradford. If we stand together, we will find our strength. They are weak and becoming weaker every day. Let Allah give us more Obamas and more IMF loans and more taxes on gold, for they are the sign of their desperation. They are heading to a wall. And the day this dollar crisis that is mathematically inevitable takes place, let that day find us with a gold dinar in the hand and with 10,000 shops ready to show the world that we don't need these bankers. Because that will be the day in which Islam will be the only force of liberation left in the world. You will still witness the creation of a world state and a world currency. For this is technically possible. It has been the dream of the bankers from the beginning. It will happen. But don't fear, the sooner it happens, the better. That day, when a world currency is created, that day will be the beginning of their end. That day will be the day in which Islam will clearly be the only force of liberation. That will be the day in which it will show the other religions have failed. And only Islam is the hope of the people. This is our task. For us, for our generation, is our privilege to be in this time defending Allah. Don't you see? These difficulties that we face are the same as our rewards to be defending Allah in these days. It's an immensity of rewards. To follow Islam in the days of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was easy. But to do it today is hard. But because it's hard, the benefits are immense. Take the benefits. Participate in this affair. These coins that Adnan has done, they are nothing to the GDP of this country. But in the meaning, they are more powerful than the entire banking system of this ridiculous country, who soon is going to be without Scotland. It's all in our hands. It's a good time. It's a bad time, and it's a good time. The opportunities are immense. For those of you who participate on the beginning, many more will follow. Millions. The currency of Islam will be the dinar and the dirham again. I've seen it. But the benefit will not be for the 1,000,001, but for those of you who now start on the beginning when there is only a handful who believe in it. Like this man. He's not the richest man in Britain. But he has shown to be ahead of all of us. And he has done what seemed to be impossible. To mint silver dirham. Get one. And you can keep it And one day it will become a piece of museum that this was the first coin minted ever. But it's better if you use it. If you knocked at the door of your corner shop and tell them, accept the gold dinar, and put the sticker, like they put Visa and MasterCard, we put our sticker, we accept dinar and dirham. And don't despair, because there is only 2 shops that accept it. The most difficult transaction will be the first one, but the second will be a little bit easier, and the third one a little bit easier. And that's how it will spread. And we are in Pakistan working to push it through. If we get the government of KPK to agree on this, you will hear about the gold dinar. But in the meanwhile, while we are here, we work to spread it among us. The benefit is not how much you are going to earn with it. Your gain is that you have done it because you love Allah. If you do the gold dinar, you use the gold dinar because you love Allah, there is benefit for you. If you do it because there is no inflation in the currency, there is a little benefit for you, but not as much. We love Allah. We are with Him. He has declared war on riba. Riba and paper money is the same issue. You cannot have eliminate riba without eliminating paper money. Riba does not mean sud. Riba does not mean interest. Riba means riba. It's a much wider affair. Learn about this. We have ulama among us who have written on these issues. This is why we are going to win. Because of this, the victory is easy. Because of this, our revolution will be worldwide. And this will not be the solution to all our problems, but it will definitely be the symbol of a different type of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.